Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Center for Cinephiles, where we talk about movies and other movie-related things. Today, we're going to be reviewing the 2014 film The Equalizer, directed by Antoine Fuqua and starring Denzel Washington. The team who collaborated on Training Day and also The Magnificent Seven, the remake of The Magnificent Seven. The Equalizer in between there. All three of them are pretty strong films. So let's get into this. What we're talking about. We're talking about a film that is essentially it plays like a Western, in that you have a guy who has a mysterious past, who is trying to blend in with the everyday around him. He's working at a sort of Home Depot type store. He's got positive relationships with his colleagues. He is a man who is trying to live by a certain set of standards. He's very helpful. He's kind to everyone until someone is violated, attacked in front of him. Chloe Grace Moretz plays a young woman who is a part of a sex trafficking ring. She's caught up in this life, and she actually has aspirations to do other things. And the dynamic between the two of these characters is very heartfelt, feels very genuine. So you can see when things happen to her how a man like Robert McCall, he's feeling something. He's feeling things about wanting to do the right thing for her. Naturally, what this leads to is slowly gets deeper into this world of sex trafficking in an effort to stop the men who are sort of the bosses in that from continuing to use up the women, particularly Chloe Grace Moretz's character. And the interesting thing about the Equalizer, the character, is that if you've seen any of the trailers going into this movie, you know he's got some skills and he can do some damage. But that's not why he goes to talk to these people. He actually tries to give them a chance multiple times. And when it's clear that they've made a decision, then Robert McCall's got to go and equalize. So that's really the gist of the film. And of course, he meets different characters who he's going to have, outside of whatever the main plot line is, there are side things that happen, and he's doing some equalizing to people who are, not doing right by the little guy. And he's there to tip the scales in favor of equality. What's fair? It's not fair that you can extort small business owners and threaten them with the destruction of their business if they don't pay a certain amount of their hard-earned money to you. No, he's got to equalize that. It's not fair that there are corrupt cops who are a part of that. He's got to equalize that situation. It's not fair that there are people who are coming into stores robbing, stealing, and terrorizing people. He's gonna handle that. There's different things that he feels compelled to take care of. And that's essentially the gist of the film. It plays almost like a subtler Man on Fire. If you've seen 2004's Man on Fire with Denzel Washington and Dakota Fanning, which is another great film. I think there are remnants of that film in this film, in The Equalizer. Yet they're very different. Man on Fire, once things get wrong, it's very much a revenge story. It's a vengeance story. The Equalizer has elements. It's a vengeance story also, but it's vengeance with a tinge of a Western, because things actually don't. It takes a while for things to build up. Like the first 20 minutes of this film is sort of more thoughtful. It's just more introspective. You got Robert McCall doing his everyday stuff, going to work on the bus, and having his meal at home, reading his book at the cafe situation, like little just everyday things before the first action sequence takes place. And there aren't really a lot of those in the film. I would say there's probably two major action beats. Everything else is more, uh, regular stuff, dialogue, stuff like that. It's not there. I think there's the first 20 minutes in, and then the climax of the film, like the last, in the third act of the film. How well does it hold up today? And I'd seen it before, actually. I watched it again recently, and still a great film. Denzel is the man still. Depending on who you are, you may disagree. I happen to like Denzel. I think he's particularly charismatic. I think he is really good. He can command the screen without even saying anything. He doesn't have to even say any words. Which is actually critical in this particular film. He's playing a guy who has a past that is referenced, maybe suggested. You never see any flashbacks. You don't see any type of in this film, but you see him in quiet moments, sitting at a table thinking about stuff, or doing something that he, like shaking his head because he's not happy about something that he just did or whatever it is. Like a lot of the stuff is played out through his emotions, his body language, facial expression, and that kind of stuff is critical. And I like movies that actually don't spell every single thing out for us. It's cool that we know he has a past, and we see his past when there are opportunities where he gets to show his skills, where he's doing some technical type stuff, designing different devices or doing whatever he's doing. When he's fighting people, that shows us, he's where he's come from. You don't have to know all the details of what that looks like and what it felt like and all that stuff. You can see it when he's doing it in the present or whatever it is. So I think it's really cool that Denzel as an actor can convey so much without speaking. You don't have to even have any lines. And that, particularly in a film like this, it's really cool to see. That's really cool to see. And that way, it's like a neo-Western. He's like the lone gunslinger guy who's tried to leave his past behind, and for some reason, something happens, and he has to call up that experience from his past to do that. And I think it's done well. Antoine Fuqua has a steady hand as a director. You can see the chemistry that they have. What happened on training day, I think that's magic. Magic is present in The Equalizer. He's letting Denzel do what Denzel does. And it plays out really well. Chloe Grace Moretz is really good as well. She reminds me at that particular stage in the film like a slightly older Dakota Fanning. In that way, I saw some parallels between the two movies, and I thought that she's not in the movie a lot, but her presence is felt. And I think how she plays her character makes you understand why Robert McCall is doing what he's doing. Very well done. The cinematography was great. Really, really good. How it photographed just the city of Boston, and how it photographed more intimate moments. Some of the fight sequences were well shot, and they're well choreographed. First of all, and then they're very well shot. There's some creative flair going on with how certain things looked. Super duper close-ups on the eyes. They tried to find ways, I think successful ways. They were successful in showing how Denzel's character could come into a room and read the room and know everything in the room to be used as a weapon, and how he was going to use that on you. That was really cool. That you had to explain what was happening in his mind in seconds, and I think visually they were able to find a way to do that. There were some really cool slow motion shots, and I think at the end of the day, you know what this film is when you go into it. You expect Denzel to be getting down, do some action and stuff like that. You know what it is, and you get that. And I just think, because I think part of that too, sometimes you know you're going to get what you're going to get, and you're okay with that. I think that it's okay that certain things were predictable, even if they weren't all the way in the ways that you thought. I don't know. I really enjoyed the film, and I did see the second one too. We'll talk about that at some point. I don't know when yet. I didn't like it as much as the first one, but still, Denzel is worth watching for sure. So he's worth watching in that one and in this one. And on that, I'm giving the film a 10 out of 10. And I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Just for nothing else, just watch it for how how it's a good masterclass too in acting. Just watch Denzel. I think you learn so much from the performance in this film. There's so much being done with very little in a lot of ways, and the result is pretty satisfying. At least it was for me. So you may feel differently. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are if you've seen the movie. Do comment below and let me know what's going on. Look out also for the blog entry version of this film at the Center for Cinephiles blog. I'll put that in the description, and it's here too. It'll show up there, but also it'll be in the description should you want to click on it or whatever it is. And yeah, thank you for your time. I appreciate you spending some time with me and listening to me ramble on about the magnificence of Denzel Washington and the film, The Equalizer. Come on back. I'll be back with another video pretty soon, so do check that out. In the meantime, thank you for watching. I'm out of here.